Hey guys, welcome back to another review video. I'm Drucifer, and today I'm going to be doing a gameplay critique of Survival, and I want to throw a huge thank you out to nwolfe for submitting this video through CruciblePlaybook. I'm actually pretty sure I've played you several times on PC. Your gamer tag sticks out for some reason, but anyway, just throwing that out there. I couldn't tell you anything about our games though. But anyway, let's kick it off.
Survival.
So finally starting with a video that begins at the beginning of the match. And I'm just going to pause it right here looking at your... that's an awesome waking vigil. I'm definitely jealous. But looking at your loadout there, you don't have an exotic weapon. You might considering trying to rebalance it so you can take advantage of an exotic weapon. Even Wardcliff in your heavy slot. Ironically, I criticized that last game, but if you're choosing to use Waking Vigil and Revoker, you might as well throw in an exotic for your heavy. Anyway, just my 2 cents there. Let's go.
Your ghost has limited power. Survive at all costs.
Alright, so right now I can already see this developing. You have, let's talk about your positioning. So you have an enemy right here, and your teammates are pretty spread off to the left of the screen. Let's see how this works out for you. Yep, and you've just backed away. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. You have an enemy pushing you right here. You don't have a close range gun. You're using a sniper and a hand cannon, and your two teammates are way off in the middle of the map. So you basically isolated yourself with no close range weapon in close range area. It would have been better for you to go over here when you ran away with my really crummy arrow outside the door, so you could have stayed in the open to be able to backpedal. So in the future, think about how you're backing away from a fight you don't want to take. And I'm pretty sure you're going to get shotgunned in the face here. Or shoulder charge.
Left.
We'll stop right there too. This will be a developing trend throughout the entire video, but you jump a lot unnecessarily for your movement. And if we step back as you made that jump, if I can get this to actually work, if you look at this, we'll frame forward a little bit. See, you didn't need to jump there to get to where you wanted to go, and there is, you can see it right there, there is a sniper looking right at you. So he could have hit you if he was quick with his flick, so no need to take that risk. Nice job. Good job not being too aggressive there and letting the angles work out. You're poking into a sniper lane right now, so you got to be careful about that.
Been knocked out. Neither team has lives left. Show no mercy. 1 minute. No more second chances. Fight to the finish.
Thinking about changing your loadout there?
Your opponents got the better of you. The enemy leads. Catch up and crush them.
That's not my favorite place to stand to snipe. It just makes you really easy to be hit from multiple angles and you're just super obvious, so you might want to consider taking a different angle or only sitting there for a half second.
3 lives left.
Yeah, geez, I was about to pause it there anyway. Okay, so we'll talk about two things here as I step it back. So, one, you are not at your optimal hand cannon range here, so which you can see with how your bullets are only going to hit for like 20 something damage. Yeah, 23 damage, and you're not even getting, some of your bullets are whiffing because you're not hitting the hitbox at all. That's due to range. But what you haven't realized here, until you get killed, is you have given the enemy sniper an angle to hit you through the tunnel there. So you're standing in a sniper lane totally exposed. So just make sure that you keep track of where you're positioning inside the inside this area of the map in the future and watch your range. But other than that, there's not much you can do there. You're gonna get sniped sometimes because you have to move through lanes.
3 lives left.
You're jumping unnecessarily again to move from point A to point B, which just puts your head up in the air for somebody to hit. So stop doing that. Slide to move around the map like you just did. Nice job getting out of that fight.
2 for 1.
And good grenade.
You're out of lives. Fight on just the same.
Nice snipe.
Has lives left. Show no mercy.
Good job sliding that tunnel. So you know you're moving through the sniper lane. You learned your lesson last time and you're sliding as you go across it.
No more second chances.
Using Revoker, so there's no reason not to take that in-air shot and give it a chance. Alright, but right now, oh wait, you just heard the audio cue for a heavy machine gun. So I would be thinking of backpedaling out of this 2v1 fight right now and not taking it. And trying to pull some more of that ammo out of his heavy gun. Or trying to hit him with a snipe, because his time to kill and his range on that thing it's just good. Sounds like Hammerhead.
Your enemy won the round. The enemy leads. Catch up and crush them.
Saying interscope a little bit long, somebody could be pushing you on the left. So, you know your teammates went that way though, so maybe it's not as big a deal. Ooh, alright, I don't like that you chose to take your sniper out there. That was a tough shot to hit with somebody pushing you like that. And you had the range to use your hand cannon. Nice job keeping track of where the enemy is there and knowing that they're probably going to rotate. Yeah. Another trend all day is you're playing a little bit spaced out from your team. You're doing better now, but you said that you're freelancing this game, so make sure you keep track of where they are and try and support them. Ooh, there's a good learning point there. We'll step back just 2 seconds. Alright, so you hear the audio cue for this guy popping his super, and then you take your shot right here. You know he's half health. Alright, there's your shot. Right now, you have to assume he's going to throw a hammer at you. It's probably going to hit because the thing is super easy to hit with. So as soon as you take that shot, flick your mouse 180 degrees behind you and sprint slide away or start dodging away. It takes a second for the game to register whether or not you hit the shot and display it to you, but you don't want to wait for that information to start running away because there's 2 possibilities. 1, you hit the shot and kill this guy, in which case you still need to run away from the 1 hammer he's going to get off here, or 2, you miss the shot and you still need to run away. So either way, take the shot and immediately run. And if you had, maybe you would have survived that shot. Maybe not, but just food for thought. It was a very nice snipe against the super though. Probably changed the total course of the game there.
Both teams out of reserves.
It's a 1v1 and both players probably very close to their supers. Zoom's done a good job of positioning on point, but I'd say it would have made more sense to position in an area near heavy so as to hold the enemy off of heavy.
10 seconds.
It's very subjective though. Alright, now both of them have their supers, so this is an interesting scenario. Do you want to pop your super? Do you not want to? 'Cause they're both, it's not like one of them is a shutdown super. It's definitely a 50-50 duel here. Nice, so the enemy's out of heavy ammo now. Ooh. Don't pop your super. Oh no! That is the worst case scenario, and you see that all the time. So if the enemy pops their super and closes the distance real quick, a lot of people will panic ult, as we call it. So just a quick lesson to learn there from Zoom. If your enemy pops your super, don't just pop yours in response. because sometimes they'll end up getting killed before it even finishes the animation like that. Alright, so you're getting super drawn. So look at how, we're going to stop here for a second. Look at how much super energy you have left. Look at your teammates' positioning and look at your enemy's positioning. You're getting really aggressive. You're putting the roaming in roaming super for sure, and you're getting very spread out. So now you won't have your teammates' support. You're going to be out of super before you engage the enemy. And there's at least 2 people, which you can see on radar here, coming up ahead of you. Probably 3 as soon as the 3rd guy respawns. So let's see how this plays out for you. You should have been running back to your teammates, and instead you're now pinched between 2 people, and the guy kills you from... Yeah, so definitely not the best positioning here. Should have probably thought about moving back to your teammates. 1 kill with your super is fine. No big deal. You missed a radar blip, I think. There's a guy on your right who is kind of behind you, so just make sure you're keeping track of that before you go into your hard scope there. Oof, and then running through a grenade was probably not the best idea, but you didn't know he was going to throw a second grenade. Perfect Destiny spawn with an enemy almost completely up your butt there. That's unfortunate. Something I didn't mention earlier in this round too, I think you were up on lives, and now you've traded it down to where it's a 2v1 with both teams with no lives left, so you can run out the clock. It's boring, but once you get up on lives, you can play passively and make the enemy come to you. So, just a really common mistake in survival.
Your enemy has match point. Nothing changes. Take them out.
Again, you're sending your scope a little bit long here. I don't know if you kept track of where your teammates went there, but it's possible somebody could move through that middle lane and hit you from the side. So, just a plug for coming out of your scope and checking your radar every so often. Nice job. If you remember at the very beginning of the game, you pushed into that area and then backed into a corner and died. You did a much better job running away that time.
I love it.
Good job playing with your teammates and supporting the team shot here. I would not have, once you went up to that perch, which is fine, the perch is fine. It's unexpected. But I would not have jumped off the perch. Makes it way, I would have walked off it to the side because you were just floating in the air in a sniper scope. And again, you're initiating fights by jumping. Don't initiate fights with jumps. Initiate fights with slides. It's much harder to be hit, and you actually lost track of your... We'll step it back here. You lost track of your radar there. If you look, you can see that you have an enemy right in front of you, and then you can, if you watch your radar here, let's see. Yeah, you can see he's right in front of you, and then he jumps over you. And you miss it, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe he was crouched. No, I'm actually confused here. Nice job using vertical space to get the... Excellent job using vertical space to get that kill. That's exactly how you want to play that. Hunter's so good for that reason.
Opponent has match point.
Alright, bringing it back 2-3. And you guys probably have super advantage right now. Playing it slow to your supers is probably a good strategy. You're again up on that block, which makes your head visible all over the map. So this little lane you keep going through with the tunnel there, with the pipe tunnel, you should be sliding into that. You don't know if somebody's hard scoping that lane, and you're making yourself vulnerable. Yep, same thing. You shouldn't be poking into this lane. If somebody was already hard scoping it and they were good, they would have hit you already. So if you're going to go into it, slide into it. But realistically, you should find a different angle to shoot it from.
reserves left. Finish them.
Alright, so right now you guys have a nice life advantage. One guy left.
Together as one.
Yep, three guys left.
I
Nice.
love it.
Yeah.
1 minute left.
I meant to say something about this in the earlier rounds too. You guys haven't really been playing for heavy control, it looks like. Like, you play on the opposite side of the map a lot. There's definitely something to be said for establishing the lane with heavy in it. That way you can control access to it.
This is it.
If you are able to pick up heavy, it does give you quite the advantage, and you can use it to bait out enemies, which I've said in my other videos. Alright, nice job with your super. You can see that guy running away. Ooh.
Relax, Guardian. You're scaring them. They'll never want to match with
Really
you
nice
again.
job activating your super in a smart area where you can't be shot, close to the enemy so that they can't run away very easily. Just good discretion there. And then nice job not running into the enemy there with your super.
3 lives left.
Once you realized it was running out, you just walked away. And now they're quitting because they've realized they've lost, which is,
Destroy them.
I don't know, kind of poor sportsmanship. Whatever. You see far worse than that in Destiny. Yeah, going for the no-scope. Nice.
All lives expended.
Hi, nice win. So I'm gonna start off by addressing some of the things that you talked about in your post on CruciblePlaybook, where I found this clip. So you talk about not being a very good player or wishing you were better, and that your mechanics you think are something you can work on. I'd say that you're well above average. Like, you have pretty good snipes. You seem to have pretty good awareness. Like, you're a good player by all means. So I don't think you should think of yourself in a negative way. I'm definitely giving a lot of critiques in this video, but that's kind of the point of this process. So don't take that to mean that you're a bad player by any means. You have a lot of good things going for you. So I like to break down my critiques into 3 categories, and I'm just going to review the big things I think you should work on. So the 3 categories are mechanics, positioning, and decision making. So your mechanics are pretty good. One of the big things though is after you take a snipe, don't wait to see if you got the kill. As soon as you take a snipe, reposition. So shoot and then immediately flick 180 and slide out of that lane or dodge or just move to a different position. Like you saw with the Titan who hit you with the hammer, you may have been able to live through that, and it also just makes you less predictable for the enemy. And then also for mechanics, you can go into PvE and practice quick scoping. It's a really challenging skill to line up your reticule before you scope in. And I think the best way to practice it is just to either go into a rumble game and accept you're going to die a lot and practice it there with only quick scopes, or go into PvE and practice there. Enough on mechanics. Your mechanics are overall good. For your positioning, your team didn't really do a good job on heavy control, and you didn't either, so I would definitely think about trying to position more effectively for heavy. You walk through lanes all the time. You need to slide through lanes so that you reduce your chance of getting hit in the head. And initiating fights by jumping is a common beginner to intermediate mistake. You should be initiating fights with a grenade and a slide or something like that to give yourself an advantage. By jumping into a fight, you make your head very easy to hit as you arc a predetermined path through the sky. But enough on that. And then one last thing. So you popped 2 supers in this game. The first time you popped your roaming super, you pushed way too far into the enemy space, and got spread out from your teammates, and you died as a consequence of it. The second time you popped it, you used much better discretion, and that's why you lived through it. It's fine to get 1 kill with your super. It's absolutely fine. The disruption it causes to the enemy team and the fact that it pushes them off objectives away from heavy and into an area they don't want to be in is just as good as getting a triple kill. So keep that in mind. And finally, for decision making, I'd say pay attention to a life advantage when you have it. If your team is up on lives, then you don't need to play aggressively. I know it's really hard to coordinate if you aren't in a pre-made team where everybody's in chat on Discord, but you can type into the bar what you're thinking and try and work like that. And that's also a really good plug for using LFGs and other things and finding a clan to play with. But I know that's difficult and not everybody has the luxury of putting together a team every time they want to play. And then finally, I'd say you sit in your scope a little bit more than you probably want to, so you might want to check your radar more often. But other than that, man, great plays. Let me know if you have any comments, questions, if you have any disagreements. I'm by no means infallible. So have a good one.